Okay, Mahdi, shall we start?
Yes, now we have to start. This meeting is for raising our awareness about writing the motivation letter, specifically for essays, leadership, networking, and studying in the UK, and career plan. I see you have strong ability to write the 4 essays. So we need you to talk about each essay gradually.
Okay, great.
Okay. About the techniques.
Okay.
Okay. So if anyone have a question, can ask in chat, and we will repeat his question, and Zahra will answer it.
Yes. But before getting questions, do you like me to start about
Yes.
and give some tips about writing essays?
Yes, let us know your experience and your knowledge and your pieces of advice. Then we can take questions in the second part of the meeting.
Okay, sure. Okay, everyone. Thank you, Mahdi, again for starting this meeting. And thanks, everyone, for joining this session and also sharing your experiences in the WhatsApp group. This is Zahra from Afghanistan. And this is the first time that I have applied for the Chevening Scholarship, and I made it through the interview, though I didn't get it so far, but I'm on the reserve list. So there are so many websites and places online that you can read about how to write your essays, but here I just want to share about some experiences and some points that helped me with my application. So first, I will go through each question and each essay questions and talk about them. And in the end, I will provide some overall tips. And then you can, I will respond to the questions that you have answered, that you have asked, sorry. So the first question is about leadership. The very first tip that I want to give you is about all the questions. First, read the question word by word, sentence by sentence, and make sure that you understand the question, because until you haven't understood the question, you cannot answer, you cannot satisfy that task. So first, read the questions and divide them part by part and identify the keywords. Write each keyword in one line and try to answer each keyword in the same line. Brainstorm it. For example, for the leadership, there are some key words like leadership and influence, future leaders, influencers, and influencing skills. So how to write it, how to develop this concept is that first, after you realize that you have got the question, then just think about the things that you have done so far. Don't try to, or don't think that you need to talk about big and very important works like doing a magic that you have changed the world or your country. It can be very small, but it should be effective. And your experience should be real. You shouldn't lie. Don't think that if you write about small things, you won't get it. Yes, it may be small, but it's real, and you can talk about it honestly. And be confident about yourself and what you have done. And think deeply about your work. Think about your work from different perspectives to see all the effects that your work has done or will do, and who has benefited from your work. How did you how did this experience influence yourself and other people around you? Share your thoughts and beliefs, and how this leadership experience will change your future. If you want to see your work from different angles, try to talk to someone who knows you and who knows what you have done, and ask them to describe your work from their perspective as well, because this helps you to see some different points that you haven't seen before. This helps you to go into details. Details are things that Chevening asks you. They want you to bring some concrete, clear examples. They don't want you to write about concepts, write about abstract things. They want you just to show it, what you have done, and how it helps you, how it helps people. The structure should be, first, uh, you need to write about what motivated you or inspired you to do such leadership activity. For example, you were in a community that you saw that there's a pressing issue there, and then you decided to act, to do something to resolve that issue. And what did you write it clearly? What did you do to address this issue? Again, write clear examples. For example, you have seen in a school nearby your area, you have seen that, for example, students don't have access to running water. So you saw that issue, and you went and called for a meeting. You asked parents to come and meet you and talked about this, talked about problems that students run because of not having access to water. So write it clearly. And in the leadership part, you can write more than one example. You have discussed one example and you have written that, okay, I have done this and these are the results that I gained after doing this. And then you can start it again. This is another example of my leadership experience. And write it again, but again, yes, they need details, they need concrete examples, but don't go too far because you have word limits. You cannot write everything. Just write the most important points. And to understand which are the most important things, you can give your essay after writing it. You can give your essay to someone else to proofread it and to decide which parts are important and which parts are not very important. So this was about leadership, and the next question is about networking. This was the most difficult part for me because I was thinking that I'm an introvert person and I don't communicate with people a lot, so I was struggling to write this part. But then I talked to my colleagues and my friends and ask them to define networking for me. So you need to understand networking. It's not just talking to people, but it's connecting to people and connecting people to people and finding and also connecting ideas together. So after making yourself clear about the concept of network, start brainstorming. Start writing about things that you have done so far. Okay, I will respond to your question in the end. Um, and meanwhile, ask people. ask your friends or colleagues to talk about your skills, your networking skills, or ask them if they had any issues or anything that you resolved that issue for them. It was because of communicating with you that they resolved their issues. So these little examples can help you structure of networking. First, you should write about who can be in your network, what kind of people were involved in your network. For example, you developed a network with your ex-colleagues or with your batchmate, your schoolmates, your friends. These are the people who can be your network. And then you developed it to further area. For example, uh, you can't hear.
Yes, we are hearing you, Zahra.
There was someone who said that she cannot hear anything.
Um,
Okay, maybe you need to join voice or voice or something. Yeah,
yes,
maybe.
I think Sabah has some internet issues. You have to connect again to the Zoom meeting. Okay, complete,
Okay,
Zahra, and I will talk to Sabah in the chat window. That complete.
okay. So you talk about people, and then you talk about the purpose of creating that network. What was it about? Did you want to find a job? Did you want to create a club? Did you want to start a voluntary activity? What was that for? So talk about your goal, and then how did you connect with people? Did you start a Facebook group, or you just started meeting with people? Did you raise a campaign? How did you develop your network? So you need to write about that as well. And what did you do? So you formed a network. uh, what was your activity? For example, I developed a voluntary team and we wanted to help poor people, and for example, we were meeting every week and we decided to collect money and then distribute it among poor people, for example. But you need to write it in more clear details. And then when was it? When did you do that? And how did it affect you as individual, and how did it affect people who were in your group? Because networking is not a one-way thing, it's mutual. You need to create network not only to benefit it uh, yourself, but also to make people benefit from this group as well. For example, you have developed a writing club and you start teaching other members about how to write academic paper or how to write stories. So other people also benefited from this group. And then how will you use this networking skills in future with the Cheveners? For example, something that is very important here, you can mention this, especially Mahdi, that you have developed this group, you have created this group, and it is a very good initiative, because if you write that you have already created this group and you know some applicants of Chevening, and some other people who have started communicating with students from the same university, you can mention that, because it shows how proactive you have and how much you are planning on your future. So it shows your good communication skills and networking skills. And how should the structure be? First, give a situation. What was the situation? For example, you needed a new job, or you saw that there are many poor people around you. This is the situation. And then you started creating a campaign on Facebook. This is an activity that you have done. You saw the situation, and then you start planning. You take action, you do an activity, and you emphasize on your role in that activity. You need to say how important your role was that in that network. And then you will write about influences that this network had on you and other people, and then write about the result that you got. For example, because of a campaign, you could earn this much money and contribute it to homeless people. This is the result that you got. And the next essay is about studying in the UK and why you have selected this course and this university. So um, we have two options for Chevening. First, you can choose three universities, but same course. The other option is three courses, maybe in the same university. Well, I selected three courses in different, one course in three different universities because first I wanted that course, and then because it's very easier to develop your essay. It's very difficult if you want to write one essay for three different courses, and also it shows how you are persistent on following your goal in studying that course. So how to write that essay? First, write about what inspired you. First, write what course you want to study and in what university, maybe. And then write why you have chosen that course. Your reason can be personal, or it can refer back to an issue again. For example, my reason was both personal and an issue that is in Afghanistan. So I wrote about my personal experience and what made me think about an issue, and then develop my essay on writing why did I think about it and what plans I have to resolve this issue or contribute to resolving this issue. And then when you write your essay, try to show off your knowledge about that course. How do you want to show off? First, write about the courses that you have taken. For example, you have taken some courses in your undergraduate studies, and so write about them and write how those courses or classes made you change your point of view or made you understand the importance of the course that you want to take. Then write about special or specific terms that are used in that course. Don't get very professional. Don't use very specific words that not everyone can use, but it is good to use some terms and words that are specifically used in the course that you want to study. And write about your professional background. Why you are writing this? Because for each paragraph that you are writing, emphasize the importance or emphasize that you really want to study that course. First, I really want to study this course because I had taken these courses during my undergrad studies. Second, I know this much about this course. I know these terms. I know these subjects. And then you come to the professional background. I have, even if your very job is not very much relevant to the course, but You may have done some voluntary activities, but even some small works that you have done, you can also somehow use your skills to connect what you are doing to the things that you want to study. After writing about your professional background and how important it is, how your professional background, how this job that you're doing now helps you understand this course even more and encourage you to learn even more about this course, write about this, and after that, you come to explaining why you want to study this course in the UK and how studying in the UK university is important for you, why you shouldn't study it in your home country. For example, you can write, I want to study this course in the UK because UK is one of the leading countries about this subject. It has, for example, ABC company that is the leading companies in the world. And in the next paragraph, you write about an issue that is currently in your country, and by studying this course, you want to address that issue and how you want to make a difference. Of course, this issue is not for example, is not the very issue that you have noticed as the first person. There are many people who are working to resolve this issue, but how you will contribute to resolving this issue, what different approach you want to take. And after that, give it another emphasis by mentioning the points that why studying in the UK is best for you. Uh, and again, you can write some flattery words that UK is the best and how it helps you to achieve your goals. And in the end, it's about career plans. Again, read the question carefully and understand the keywords, what you want to write. It needs to be very specific because they want to know how serious you are in going back to country and using your knowledge. They don't want you to write about your dreams. They want you to write about your plans. It doesn't matter if it's a small plan, like again, creating a club or something very specific. You don't need to write big ideas like I want to go back and I want to change my country. This is not possible. We cannot change. We are one person and we cannot change a country, but we can change a small group of people. So the goal that you set, the plan that you write needs to be very, very specific and be realistic again. The plan that you set needs to be smart. It needs to be specific about duration. When will you start it? What people you need to involve in this plan. For example, what kind of equipment you need for it, what are the resources that you have now, what will you need in the future after going back. So again, be specific, write in clear details to show that you are very serious about it. So these were the specific tips about all the essays, but there are some general tips that I would like to share here. They will help you to develop your ideas. First of all, visit the British Embassy in your country website. For example, British Embassy in Kabul website. Read about FCO. Read about their plannings, what they have been doing in your country, what is their mission in your country. Then you can understand that, okay, one of their mission is, for example, promoting peace in Afghanistan. So what I want to write, I try to use this in my essays. I want to do this, I want to study this course because I feel that this is helpful in promoting peace in Afghanistan. Try to address their goals in your essays because scholarships are like deals. They give you money, but in return, they ask you for services, for something to contribute to their activities as well. And be straightforward and to the point. Don't write funky words. Yes, you want to show off that you know these words, but make it simple, make it easy to understand. And of course, everyone knows that they should start well ahead of time. Don't procrastinate. There are some people who their minds work better when they are stressed and the deadline is close, is near, and I am one of them. But in the end, I hated myself for procrastinating that much. So create a deadline for yourself and try to start earlier. After you finish drafting, give it to different people. First, give it to your
Zahra,
friend.
sorry for disturbing you.
Sure.
But if the Zoom meeting has been closed or ended by default, I will
Uh-huh.
share with you another Zoom meeting invitation to join there. Okay?
Okay, sure.
And I will,
Sure. But uh-huh.
okay, I will. You can complete.
Okay. I think now Zoom doesn't have time limitation. I hope so. Okay. So this is almost the end. So give it to different people. First, give it to your friend to read it because they know you well and they can tell you about the points that you overlooked. Sometimes we are very humble. We do not want to talk about things we have done because we think that uh, it's not very good to to brag or to talk about what we have done, but we need to talk about our work. Give it to your friend and then give it to your colleague and then give it to someone who knows you less because they can criticize you, they can ask you questions. If there are some points that are not very clear, they can point out and ask you to clarify. And after that, give it to someone whose English is better than you, because English is not our first language. Sometimes we may make mistake about word choice and everything. Give it to someone to proofread it for sure. So these were my tips, and I am happy to accept questions. And I saw some questions here, and feel free to ask questions.
Okay, if anyone have any questions, please raise your hand and I will open your audio.
Okay, let me first answer. Mujtaba has asked, what if we don't have any leadership experience? Mujtaba, we have time. We still have time. If you think, first, go back and think about things that you have done. As I said, you don't need to talk about some big works that you have done. Think what changes you have made in your family, in your relatives, or in your
Zahra, your voice is not clear, I think.
think about and haven't done anything for now, you have time and start. Can you hear me?
Zahra, your voice wasn't clear the 2 minutes, the last 2 minutes. So you have repeat.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So I said that if you first of all go back and see what you have done in your community or in your family and relatives even, you don't need to talk about big things. You can point out the small things, but write it in a very good way. You can show it to people, show it to everyone, and see if they can help you how to develop that idea into a nice essay. Okay, and if you haven't done anything for now, you still have time. Think about, look around yourself and think about an issue and try to make something for now. You still have time. And you suggest naming the beneficiaries if the impact was on few people. So, Sabur Besot has asked if we need to name the beneficiaries if the impact was on few people. Sorry, just a minute. So, you don't need to name the people, but you need to write about the group. So, what kind of group were those people in? Oh, sorry. Uh, oh, sorry. Just a minute. Okay, what were those people and how did they benefit? Yes, maybe I have done something that benefited only 5 people, but in the end, those people also will go back to their community and will just cascade that knowledge or anything that they have gained from you to their community as well, right? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you, and
Okay.
all of us hear you. I think.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
So,
no problem.
okay, the ideas of the essays have to be connected. Barbara has asked if the ideas can be need to be connected. So the first of all, you shouldn't write repetitive points. For example, if you have mentioned your leadership activity in the first essay, then it's better not to talk about it in the next essay. But the way you connect them is that the way you should show your skill first in mentioning that first you have developed this leadership skill, and then you have used networking, and then, for example, so the way that you write is that the Chevening members should understand that when you get this scholarship, you can use all these points in order to cascade your knowledge after you gain this scholarship. You cascade your knowledge to your community. So they should somehow be connected, but not repetitive. And Hawaii, I'm a master's holder from a home country would be a plus or minus. Well, I'm not sure about this Hawaii, if having a master's will help you in this case or not. Well, of course, it is good because you have more knowledge and experience, but I'm not sure because some scholarships try to give award to people who haven't had masters, so they want their money to be spent on people who don't have any chance in other areas. So I'm not sure about this. And Amira, the star method. Yes, exactly. Amira, yes, the star method is good. So first, you give the situation and you write about task, action, and result. Yes, it is very helpful because it helps you develop your essay very clearly. And Jason has said planning means dreaming is how I see it, as long as you are clear what you want to do after your study and how you will be able to achieve it. Yes, you're right, Jason, but dreaming, I mean, dreaming in a way that is not very feasible. Yes, when you first it's dreaming, and then you make your dream in a plan, into a plan. So you plan for it, you decide about the time, duration, and everything. So that in that stage, your dream becomes a plan. I can agree to I have an offer from university. I have deferred my admission to the
Zahra,
next.
before answering this question, we have another question. How many examples do we write in each essay?
What I did for leadership, I wrote two examples,
Yes.
and for networking, I again wrote two examples, and then I gave an overall description about my networking skills. And about plan, work plan, it asks you for immediate plans and long-term plans. Again, you need to write different plans. So first I wrote one immediate plan. After I go back to country, I start my job, and then I wrote the bigger plan, or the long-term plan that I had. And then I developed my plan in different parts. For example, I wrote what are the people that I need to meet, what are the resources that I will need, and how this knowledge that I will gain in the UK help me to make this plan into action. So yeah, it's good to write more than one example.
Yes, great. Thank you.
And
And we have many questions still. Uh,
yeah, uh, there are some
there was a
questions.
question about the leadership experience or
Uh-huh.
the previous experience, and I have,
Mm-hmm.
I think, the volunteering experience is pivotal and essential, and you can
Yes.
depend on volunteering experience in case you didn't have any experience, or you don't have any experience, any professional experience. It's accepted. Volunteering is accepted for Chevening, by the way. You can complete the.
That's good. So the other point by Jason is how should deal with the fact that if you do not find anything what the UK is doing in your country, well, you can just read more about the UK government, because there are some common goals that they have. For example, education, health. These are the goals that they have everywhere. So you can write about that. And also, you need to focus first on your course, the course that you want to take, and then I'm sure that you will find some common goals. For example, I want to study engineering. So it's about technology development. And UK is, for example, providing this scholarship because the UK government wants developing countries um, for example, develop infrastructures in their country, or for example, enhance knowledge and everything in their country. So you can connect it. It is not very necessary that we have the very common goals exactly, but it is very good if you know how to connect them together. You need to gain that skill to connect the points together. How many examples are better? Yeah, two are good. I think if you write three, it's good, but again, try not to make it very messy and complicated, because talking about too many things in very short essays, they won't help. So I have online learning and courses. Should I add? Yes, yes. If you have Amal, if you have online courses and trainings, yes, definitely add them, because it shows that you are serious and you want to follow that course, and these are the things that you have done. You have even taken some online courses, so definitely include that. GPAs affect the result. GPAs, I have heard that they do look at your GPA, but they emphasize more on your leadership skills and the skills that they have mentioned. So if you have a low GPA, don't worry very much. Just work on your essays to make them strong essays. But if my leadership positions were mostly held in my, that's fine. Don't worry. If I don't know the name, but what if your leadership positions were mostly held during your undergraduate study? Don't worry about it at all. Write it, even if it was before your undergraduate, even if it was about the clubs that you created during your undergraduate. So include them, and also try to start something now and include that as well, because then you will show that yes, you have gained these experiences during your undergraduate studies, and now you are using those experience and knowledge to initiate something in your society. You want to show that you are giving back to your society and community, so that they understand after you go back to country, again, you will give something back to your country. For the interview stage, as Izzy has asked, some of the questions are asked about networking and leadership. Is it fine to use? Yes, definitely. It was a mistake that I made. Talk about your essay. This is what they want. I didn't talk about my essays. I wanted to be very creative, and later I realized that I did a mistake. So it wasn't good at all. So talk about your essays, but they will ask you follow-up questions and ask you for more details. Um, the last year I have offered, but because of personal reasons, I didn't completed my application. Sorry, Muhammad Yassin. Is my leadership as an undergrad sufficient? How do I explain this? Gerald, yes, I said that it is good to write about your undergraduate leadership activities, but again, you still have time. Try to start something now. And how do you want to best explain it? I so try to write in a way that shows you have been ready to take challenges, or you have identified an issue, and you have used your knowledge or resources during your undergraduate to address that issue, and you helped people to come together and resolve that issue. Is that effect for the Muhammad Yasin? I don't think so. I don't think if you haven't completed your application, that will affect your next year application. Don't worry about that. And Muhammad, uh, do the examples when it comes to leadership and networking have to be directly related to my major that I'm applying? No. It doesn't have to be exactly related to the major that you are applying, but they want to know what kind of skills you have. So write that very clearly. Um, And if someone does not have any intensive experience, a relevant field of study, how will it? Um, I would suggest, Wasiuddin, I would suggest if you don't have a direct and an intensive experience, if you don't have any, that is a little to prove that you really want to study that course, but don't be disappointed. You can again start an online course or something now and write about that. So, and also think more deeply, because sometimes we overlook as things we have done. You can somehow relate things to each other. So talk to someone, talk to a professor or someone, and share what you want to study and things that you have done in the past, and see how you can connect them together. Amal, for students working in creative industries, a lot of achievements are exhibitions and awards. It is not work experience, neither are leadership. How should we list them? Well, if you mean exhibitions and awards, they are very important. You shouldn't overlook them, because yes, you can't say they are not leadership, because running an exhibition needs some certain type of skills. Write about how you, for example, even if you haven't curated that exhibition, if you haven't started that exhibition, but you were only a part of that exhibition, write about, for example, in the network section, write about that, and write what made you to be a part of that exhibition, what networks you could make. For example, you were in that exhibition and then you could visit one of the famous artists, and after that you started emailing him and talking about your future goals and all. Develop into that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Okay, because some friends have said that they can't hear.
Um,
Ashrafun Nahar.
yes, I think they have some internet
Okay.
internet
Yeah.
connection issues. Uh, we will provide them with the record after the session. So no problem.
Okay, so, and again, there's a question that if the experience isn't relevant, what we should do again, it's okay if you don't have relevant course, start it now, take an online course now and write about it, or talk about, for example, in the why did you select this course? You can write about an essay that you have written or you have read, and that made you think about that course. For example, I have studied social science, but then I started I read something about, for example, um, fine arts, and then I thought that maybe I should well, it is very general, but it's only an example. Then I thought maybe I should study fine arts because I want to resolve this issue in Afghanistan, and it needs someone who has studied fine arts. So read about it, and yeah, maybe you can't take courses now, but read some articles, read some books about that, and then write about the book that you have read and how that book opened a new window towards a new world to you. For example, put some questions about that issue. So yeah, you still have time. Don't be disappointed. Essays, I think they are 500. And says it is very, yes, it is very important. You should follow the word limits, and you should follow the structure. And please. If I have teaching experience, of course it is good, but what is the course that you want to study? If you have teaching experience, it is very good, especially if you want to, for example, address leadership maybe. Okay, chemistry, but what did you teach? What happens if I get a PhD or job in the UK while maybe returning out? Well, I have heard that we need to get back to our country at least for 2 years. And after that, you need to get back. You might go for further studies. But these questions, I'm very sorry because I can't give a clear answer because this session is more about essays. So I have some experience about essays, but not very much knowledge about the other procedure. So in Tawheed, if you have taught, sorry, Mitha, if you have taught chemistry and you want to study chemistry, of course, it is very good. For sure, include it in your essay. For example, you have taught chemistry and then you have realized that chemistry is something that most students dislike. Why? Because it is not taught in a good way or because of different reasons, and you want to study chemistry in the UK because you think that by that you will gain knowledge or you will develop more knowledge and confidence in teaching chemistry from a different perspective or with a different teaching method. Okay, I think uh, I have answered all the questions. I was shortlisted this year, but unfortunately I couldn't succeed after the interview, so I was wondering if that can submit the same application again, problematic, or at least maybe the slide. Maybe you can bring some slide changes, Azizi, because I said I'm not very sure about the rest of procedure. I can just provide some tips and share some experiences that I have about writing the essays. The experience certificates are needed to be submitted or not? No, they won't. No, they won't ask you for the certificates, but they will ask you. For example, you can mention that I have gained this certificate because I passed this course. Yeah, as easy. It's better to because if you weren't selected, it means that your essay wasn't very strong. So if you submit that essay again, it won't help. I would suggest sharing it with other people and ask their point of view and see how you can change your essays so to make them stronger. Okay. Yes, it is good that you were shortlisted for the interview, but again, you need to make it stronger. And any other question?
If you have any other question, we can, Zahra can respond it now.
Sorry, I couldn't get you.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. Could you please repeat? What did you say?
Yes. If anyone has any question, please ask it before ending the Zoom meeting. Zahra,
Yeah,
was that your first time?
yes, it was my first time.
Yeah, that's Mojtaba uh, question. Okay, but to be clear, I have a question about leadership essay.
Uh-huh.
Um, there are a lot of achievements in leadership in everybody' lives. So
Of course.
yes, so there are essential or influential uh, leadership element or factor or story. So what are the recommended stories to tell in the application? I have a friend uh, um, wrote that uh, in his childhood he was the leader of his friends in the school. It was a story, and he was accepted, by the way. But
Mm-hmm.
um, what's the recommended stories to tell? I think not all stories can get acceptance uh,
Yes.
or being accepted by the commission. So recommend some stories or a kind of stories.
Sorry, what was your last sentence?
I'm asking you to recommend some stories or a kind of stories.
Uh-huh. Well, I cannot recommend the type of story because honestly speaking, when I showed my first draft to my colleague, and he was a native speaker, so he was totally disagree. He disagreed with that story, and he said that you shouldn't write this. But yes, there are people who write stories, but they get accepted. You need to be confident about the type of essay that you want to write. Write something that you can write well. If you are good with the stories and you are 100% confident that you can write it well, it's not a mere story, but it has essential details in it. Go ahead and write it because it's an innovative way and it can be eye-catching. It can make the reader interested to go and read it until the end. But if you are not confident, don't write a story because sometimes we write boring stories. Yeah, I saw another example that someone had written like a story. I was a girl, I did this and that, like a story because she had seen it on the internet and it was a winning essay. But after going through proofread and all, again, that colleague said that no, never go for it because it's very boring. So some people find it boring, some people find it interesting. Write a story only if you are confident, yeah, that your story is worth it. And it's a risk. So something that you can develop very well. And there are some other questions.
Yes,
So,
M. Shantano asked about, can government job in central bank in bank supervision can be shown as an experience to change?
of course,
Yes.
but how you can write it in a well-written essay, you need to write what difference you made in your work area. For example, yes, that's a government job and maybe it's not very interesting, but you did something different. Hello?
Yes,
Okay,
we are
but you
hearing.
did something different in your work area. For example, um, in your work place, you didn't have a specific, for example, you created a club between the colleagues. You created a sports club or something else, something that you initiated. Write about that, that you have changed your boring workspace to a very interesting somewhere that people started to communicate better, to share experience, to help each other more. So write about your work and your influence in your workspace. And I'm beginning where Taher, it doesn't matter if you are an officer, an assistant, or a manager. You just need to show your dedication and your interest in making a difference and contributing to your surrounding environment. Okay, so don't worry if your position is not of a high position. My goal, Tawheed, yes, of course, it's not about, UK usually wants to promote English language, and if you want to develop French language, it doesn't matter. But it means that you want to facilitate. So first you need to talk about the necessity of French language in Nigeria. Why is French language important? Because it helps people to gain access to other resources that are in a French language. It helps them to communicate with other countries better. It means that it helps people grow their world. And also people who know French language other than the Nigerian language, they have more access to education abroad. So this is again a common goal between you and UK. UK also wants to make education accessible and available to people, and you, by providing French language, for example, institutes in Nigeria, you are doing the same as well. So this is very helpful. You can include it. Just make sure that you write it and explain it very clearly, how it helps your community, why French language is important for them. Um, okay, so Taher, I think what is the beginning of my career? Years. Yeah, Taher, I responded to your question. Looking for future leader. No, it doesn't weaken your application. How to know preferences of field in so you can just look onto their website and see what activities they have done, and also read about the Chevening. Read the Chevening website. Read about what they are looking for. Again, use their keywords in your essays. You don't need to just go to FCO for sure, but read about, or for example, you hear news. This is something that UK government has done. If not in your country, in the other countries, what are things that they are doing? It means that those are their values, and you can point out those values in your essays. James, I was shortlisted for the interview but could not make the final selection, so I don't know why, though I know the number of applicants in my country. Yes, James, it is very competitive. There are 60,000 or more people who are competing each other. So if someone is not selected, it doesn't mean that their application was not strong enough, but it means that there are people who are strong as you. So again, I would suggest go through your essay and again think about your interview. What are the things that you think you could have done better? You could have written better. You can develop them for this year. And again, there are people who are applying for more than one or two times. So don't worry and don't be disappointed. Yeah, there are only limited number of people who are accepted, and we cannot put all the blame on our application, because of course there are some people who take it and some people who cannot take it. So don't worry. You're welcome, Tawheed. Okay, any other questions?
Yes. You told someone who who asked some question about that's how writing, about the writing of your essay. It's not about it's actually not about your previous experience, but it's about how to write it, right?
How to write your experience?
Yes. How to show your experience or your leadership skills or networking. How to write it.
Okay, so go with the procedure and structure that I told. Like start first, give the situation, and then write about the tasks that you had, your role. For example, the situation, uh, the
Yes.
hygiene. Yeah, just write about a situation that you faced or that were an issue that was around you, and then your task. What did you do? What was your role? And then what activities you did. For example, you did a campaign, you ran a campaign, or whatever you have done. So write them, try to be clear, coherent, and cohesive. Yes, in the beginning, if you want to write them, let it be as many words as possible.
Um, there is a question from Mukhtar. Uh, Please let us some tips about the conditional and unconditional offers we receive from universities and when should be submitted. Let me tell you that we have another session about submitting to universities and how to choose the suitable university and suitable city for you in the UK. But let us know some tips, Zahra. Zahra. Zahra, you've muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Did you hear what I
Okay.
have said?
Yes. Well, I would suggest leaving it to the next session and ask it from someone who has more experience. Can you hear now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
If I'm participating in internships, virtual experience in UK legal offices, and another virtual experience, is that useful in my application? Muhammad Yassin asked.
Of course. Of course, Mohammed. Of course, it is very important. And again, it shows that, for example, you want to study law, and if you have taken some courses, it means that you are very serious, you want to follow laws, and yes, write about it and write the experience that you have learned, knowledge that you have gained from these courses, and how these courses help you to see or to plan your future. write about them for sure. And Tawheed, yes, I think there's quota based for countries, but not about majors and courses. Is that true? Is that right, Mahdi?
Um, I didn't hear you.
Tawheed has asked if there is a quota of selected scholars by country. Yes, it is.
Yes, please. Another question. Um, how can UK support the education in other countries for writing my career plan or relationship? Uh, I can't understand this question clearly, but
Me too.
Zahra, if you understand, please explain.
Well, I am not very sure about this too. Midhaq, could you please clarify your question? I'm not sure if I got this.
Yes, Misaq, please clarify.
Mithaq, sorry.
Zahra,
Uh,
uh,
yes.
Elizabeth Ank. I plan to apply for media communications and development. Please, can you give me some tips on what to write in my essay?
Well, what exactly about writing your essay, if you could clarify that, because if you talk about structure, as I said, you can structureize your essay based on a star. And what else do you need to know if you could clarify? Yeah, I am applying for a course similar to that. Me talk because my experience about teaching and education.
Darling, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Jala?
Yes.
I am purely new in this space. I know
Welcome.
nothing about singing, but I have so much. I am so much eager to know about Chevening Scholarship.
I'm so sorry. I don't know if
I'm
Ashraf Manar,
very
repeat that.
hello.
Uh, your voice is not clear.
Yes, if you could type your
finish
question, that would be very.
that can be selected universities.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you very well. If you could type your question, that would be better because I don't know if the internet.
Zahra, did you respond the question about media communications and development?
I asked for clarification because I said that we talked about essay structure. If she could provide more details, like how to write, what to write in my essay, so what kind of information you want to have, that would be better.
Yes, great.
Or from my experience, Elizabeth, for example, media communication and culture, I want to study. So you could write about your first about your leadership. It can be anything because leadership can be anything. So and you can also write about if you have anything relevant to communication and development, that would be very good, right? For example, I initiated this work because I thought that that will help with development of my people in that area and all, or I used my communication skills to start this activity. And for the networking, it is very important. You need to show how good you are how good you are doing with communication. So you need to write about that. And for example, for example, if you have been a communication officer, or if you have been in charge of communicating with people, and you have used social media or different medium that could send the message across, it shows that how well you know of communication tools. So this would be very effective. Elizabeth, hope you have heard me. Okay, how UK will help you to develop your career plan? Well, you need to write how the knowledge that you will learn during your master's degree help you to develop your career plan. For example, if you have studied in your master's, if you have studied education or communication, for example, you can say that I have learned technical skills that will enable me to make this plan into action, and write it specifically, some terms that you know, how that knowledge helps you, and how, for example, you can connect with other Cheveners, either from your country or from other countries, and you can develop this plan into, for example, an international community or international network. You can write about that as well. I mean, okay, Misak, I hope I have answered you. And your education as well is the same. You can write, you will learn about teaching methods, or you will learn teaching in an international and diverse community, and how you can, for example, emphasize or promote diversity and inclusion in your community by knowledge and experience that you have gained in the UK. Any target IELTS score, those who selected a minimum was score. So I think the minimum was 6.5. I'm not very sure, but it also, because for this year they exempt candidates from giving their IELTS scores, but you need to check it with your university as well, because universities may ask you for different scores. And
Mukhtar asked about the university's offers. Mukhtar, I think university's offers are very easy. I think you can get one easily, so don't panic about it. University's offers are very easy, but I have a piece of advice for you. You can choose um, three universities from different backgrounds and categories. Don't choose top universities, but you have to choose
yes,
one top university and one university ranking from 30 to 50, and one almost 100 or 90 or 80, like this. It will be easy to get an offer and you can get some offers without interview. I get 2 offers without any interview and 1 offer with an interview, and all of them was very easy, were very easy. So don't panic and begin begin sending your application to universities from now to get an offer before applying. I love getting an offer before applying to put it in Chevening application.
Yes.
Okay, if you have any thing to provide, Zahra, in this question.
Uh-huh. And I think some applications for universities for 2021 and 22, I think it's not available now. And Allah has asked this question as well about the second point. Yes, I think you need to wait until the application is open. And about not having Allah, about not having voluntary experience, as I said, you have time, you can start now. Try to join voluntary clubs and or start something on yourself. So don't worry, you have time. And you don't, if you don't have any voluntary experience and you have, but you have a professional background, I think that is okay. But voluntary experience is very important. They value it too very much because they see how much you are ready to contribute to your society. Because jobs are jobs, you get paid for it. But if you have voluntary experience, it means that you are dedicated and you are ready to do something for your society without being paid for it. So it is good if you create an experience for yourself now. And Johidul Bashar, well, there was another question too, that having a master's degree or studying master's degree now, will it help or not? I am not very sure because sometimes the scholarships are offered to people who don't have any scholarship background or don't have any master's degree. So they are, this is the first chance for them. So I'm not very sure about this and I can't comment. What should I do first? Apply to university before applying for a scholarship? Because some universities' application is not open for now. They because it needs to be September entry. So you need to wait for them, apply, and start for applying for your scholarship. I would suggest, but if anyone else suggests the other way, yeah, again, welcome to share your experiences.
Okay, thanks a lot, Zahra. If you have anything to say, let us know, or ultimate advice or piece of advice to us before ending the Zoom meeting, please let us know.
Yeah, from my side, just apply, just start well ahead of time. Create a deadline for yourself before the Chevening deadline and make yourself, force yourself to finish everything before that. And then once you did it, show your essays to other people and ask for their feedback. And be hopeful, and if you weren't selected, don't be disappointed.
Okay, now we are available every time in the group to responding for any question or any inquiry about Chevening or about the process of applying. And we have a lot of sessions, upcoming sessions. So if you have a question or if you get a question soon, ask it in the group or ask it in the next sessions. Have a nice day. and I'm very happy to talk to you today and to meet you today. Thanks a lot, Dahra.
You're welcome. You're
You're,
most welcome.
all of you are welcome, and goodbye. And I will share the record and the group. If anyone don't is not in our group, WhatsApp group, you can join us, and the link is in the chat window. So join us every time. This is Mahdi Mubarak from Egypt. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day and nice night. Goodbye.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.